Alright, so it's July 20th. I just woke up. It's just after 7 o'clock. So I got pigeons out here. There's a couple pigeons on the house. There's pigeons on the shed. And now there's one in the air. That's Ash. He's an old bird. Not really worried about it. So I got pigeons on the shed, pigeons on the loft, pigeons on the other loft, pigeons on the ground. I left the food pitcher just sitting out here on the ground, so I'm just gonna grab it. See how many. Let's see, there's 2 on the house. Then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I see 12. There were 16 out here on top of the loft last night when I went to bed. So, pitcher. I let the chickens out too. I don't know if you heard the rooster. You probably wouldn't have known that's what it was. That soft, kind of scratchy, shrieking sound was the rooster trying to crow. There we go. Food. Not gonna get too much of it. Better put the camera on Nick. See if they can all see it. Make sure that one. I'm honestly just kind of throwing a little bit on the ground because I don't want these guys eating too much. I want to be able to let them out the trap again. So far, there's none on the landing board. Alright, so I'm going to come back out here. There's a young looking pigeon right there. That one's pretty young looking. Now I've got 2 real young blue bars. One is inside because it's real skinny and I'm having to work on that one. The other one I thought, oh, I picked it up and put it on the landing board. I didn't put it through the trap, so that must be which one that is. See, that's an old bird on the landing board trying to go into that loft, which was something I was worried I was going to have a problem with. Oh, good. See if we can't get him to go in there. Starting to get the idea a little bit. See those birds trying to go in the gray loft over there. If I open up that trap, they will go in. I'm not worried about losing them because I can do that, but that would kind of defeat the point because I'm trying to get them to go into this loft. Ash will probably just come right down here to me. give them any much more food than that. The waters are full and they're in there, and there's no water out here. Not to mention, the pigeons just naturally want to be inside the loft because to them the loft is home. Here comes, I don't know if y'all can see from the sun, here comes a pigeon. The loft is home, so they naturally want to be inside of it. Not to mention it's safer in there. So they, is that a pigeon down there, or is that some other bird sitting on top of the chicken pen? If it'll focus. It's not wanting to focus. Whatever that is right there. I think it's some other kind of bird, but the camera won't focus. Yep, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I see one in the house that makes 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 up on the house, then 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I see 13. I know there were 16 sitting out here last night. I let 35 out yesterday, so let's see how many are in. And when I count, I have to not count that black hen, or there's 2 blue bars in here that can't fly. I guess I'll just count them all and deduct 3. Alright, so both nets are in here. Oh, I have to deduct. No, because I put Charles out, so I count him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Because I'm pretty sure I counted Willie. So 17. Which means 17 minus 4, that's 13. So I've got 13 in here, so 35 minus 13, that would be 22. So, depending on whether I counted Willie or not, because I can't remember if I counted him now, I've either got 22 or 23 out there, which is a lot more than I have in here. Though I have to say, that pigeon right there is one that blue bar is one that I was concerned about. That's that old bird from the Baltimore club that was given to me. I wonder if it trapped in or if I put it in, because there were 2 I picked up off the ground and put in here, I think. No, there wasn't. I put Swift in here. I caught Swift and put her in here, and then the one that I like to call Turkey right there, I put him in here. Or no, that's him right there. Either way, Turkey's the one I put in. That one right there. So that one trapped in on its own, so that's good. I'm going to lock this picture in this nest box so that I've kind of got it in here, but also so that they can't get to it. And I'm just going to leave them. There's not really anything more I can do. I can't, if I continue to whistle and if I continue to whistle and do not throw food in there, then it's going to impact them negatively in that they will be hearing my whistle a bunch without the food reward, which will not be good because I'm trying to teach them the whistle means food. And if I continue to give them food, they'll get really full and I won't be able to let them out today. I do have to go to work this evening, and that'll be at 6, but around 5 or so, I would like to go ahead and let these guys all back out, and then I'll whistle and call everyone in again. And hopefully some of these guys will have trickled in through the trap by then. And again, if I open that trap, I can get some of the old birds that don't want to go in to go in there. But I'll video this evening when I'll keep updates, and I'll make it all one video tonight. Alright, I'm just going to try and make this kind of short, and I'm probably just going to put it up without any editing. The birds are all still out here, a lot of them. They're not flying away. There's 3 that I don't know where they are, but basically it's just a waiting game. I can walk around them. It doesn't bother them. I can come over here. They're not spooked by me being out here. They just won't go in the trap. I've got a few more in here now. Oh, that blue grizzle went in on its own. That wasn't in there before. So some of them are starting to go in, but I can be out here around them. Some of them I could pick up. The light gray one right there, I could probably just catch him if I wanted. That's a real young one right there. So they're not spooked by me being out here. So far I haven't had a problem with the hawk. Both satin nets went in the loft. They're being trap trained as well, so I can walk out here along with them. It looks further on camera, but I'm just a couple feet away from them. So just a waiting game. They'll all go back in eventually. I'm kind of tempted to just try and catch this one and put it back in. Come here. You want to come to me? Come here. Nah, I'm going to go over there with the others. Alright. Well, so a few more have gone in. Let's see, how many are out here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 that I can see. Alright. Better double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Alright, I see 14 out here. Let's count these. I don't think I counted Willie originally. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, minus 4, because 2 that can't fly, and black and Willie is minus 4. That is 16, which means I'm still missing, what, 19, I guess, and there's 14 out here. So that means 4 that I don't know where they are, but they're probably not far. I knew where all were except 3 as of a little while ago, so a few more have gone in now. They'll all go in eventually, or hopefully they should. Chickens are still out, letting them out this morning. Yeah, so just gotta wait on them. I'll let everyone back out again this evening and feed them again before I go to work. They'll just get hungrier and hungrier, not to mention the water as they're in the loft, so I'm not too worried about it. I just would prefer that they all go right into the loft, but by next week, I'm sure this will be ancient history. They'll be going in just like they should. I'll be flying them using the satin nets as droppers. So, unfortunately, Willie managed to come back out of my trap. So I lowered the trap door a little bit and haven't had that happen again since, but I was out here watching and he just popped up on top of the landing board. I tried to get him to come to me so I could put him back in the loft, and all he would do was spin around and show off. I finally gave up and walked away, and once I stopped giving him attention, he flew over and landed on my shoulder. So I just walked back in the loft with him and put him back in there. But haven't had a problem with that happening since. I've got the fan going again, trying to get an early start on it today and see if I can't keep it cooler in there today. I still think that thermometer's off. Let's see. Well, are you going to land or not? Had to think about that one for a moment, huh? Yeah, but they're not spooked by me being out here. A lot of these young birds are not as tame as my old birds. I wish they were. I'll work on that after I get them trap trained. I prefer to hand feed them a lot and work on getting them tamer before I trap train them, but I was gone to Mississippi all week, so wasn't able to do that. But they'll go back in eventually. So it's let me see what time it is. 9:45 a.m. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Still just seeing 14. So 5 that I don't know where they are. Some of them might be in the trees. They're around here somewhere. Alright, so it's still July 20th. It's just about 4:30 in the afternoon now. I know that most of the birds are in the loft. I'm not sure if all of them are. I thought I'd gotten them all in there, but then right before we left for the pool, one came flying over. So I'm really not sure if that one is still out here or if it went in, and if it did go in, whether it went in or not. I'm not sure if maybe there was one more. I think I miscounted. I don't know. I'm going to let them all out, and I'm going to try and figure out how many homers I have. I never did finish writing down bands. The 6 that I moved over that I had kept in the little loft down at the woods for a while. I'm not sure. I don't think I ever wrote their bands down. I think I had a couple more young ones that didn't write their bands down. So basically, I'm just gonna open the thing for them and try and encourage them to go out the trap. Oh, I'm being careful with you this time, Willie. So far, Willie has been out 2 or 3 times, and I've gotten him back in all those times, but he's not been out the trap at least, or back in the trap once. I think I'm going to try and get them all out of the aviary here and close the doors to the aviary so that they'll start coming out here. Alright, come on guys. Come on. And instead I'm attracting more. Come on. I gave them a bath earlier. Or gave them bath water. They took the bath on their own. Come on, guys. Cup of water. One more. Come on. Get on out of there. This bird's not being very cooperative. Come on. Oh my goodness, I'm just going to have to catch it. Alright, so there we go. Closing these. Now hopefully they'll start coming out the trap there. Let's see, this thermometer says it's 103 in here. It still doesn't feel that hot though. There's a little bit of a breeze because I've got this fan going. See, there's a couple pigeons down here enjoying the fan. I can feel the air coming through. So I don't know, it doesn't feel that hot in here, but maybe that's just because the air's circulating okay. I guess, really I could leave this door open, but y'all remember I'm wanting to teach them only to go through the trap and not to go through this big door, because if they learn to go through the big door, then they're going to want to come out at every time I go through the door. I just heard flapping. I'm not sure if it came from that white loft or from the trees. Anyways, I was saying something. I don't want them trying to... I already do my best to keep them from coming out the big door. I don't want them to learn to do it too, So, we'll see how that goes. I've got some stuff to do. I got pigeon food while I was out. I need to put that in the shed and get my backpack taken in and some stuff, so clean up out here a little. The reason I've got these things laying out here is because last night I pulled the feeder out because of course I didn't want to leave a feeder full of food in there because the birds that had already trapped in would gorge themselves and not be hungry, and then they wouldn't want to trap in today. So I took it out, but I accidentally knocked it over and it spilled food there. So I laid those on top so that the pigeons that were out here wouldn't eat the food that was on the ground. And then, I just basically dumped it, but that's why those are laying there. So, and I'm going to leave them there for now. But my camera battery's dying. I'm going to go in, replace the battery. I'm going to replace the pigeon food. And hopefully they'll start coming out that thing soon. So, yep. It's about 4:30 now. I have to leave for work at 5:30, so. Alright, it's been a few minutes and none had come out, so I picked up Coco and Swift, the two old birds on top, held them up to the trap, let them fly from my hand to the trap, and then did the same with the satin net that's sitting on the landing board. And then I came out, and then those 3 other pigeons followed them, and hopefully some more will be behind them. So I'm gonna go get their food. I still have some pigeon food, but I got a new bag for them, so I'm gonna go get that. Sounded like another one was coming, but maybe not. There's another one. Come on out, guys. I don't know what's up with that grizzle there. It's doing, or the satin net. They're just laying, the satin net's just laying there sunning her wings. I don't know what's up with them. Come on, you can do it. Just jump off. You can see the, actually that's, yeah, no, that is a younger one. Yeah. That's funny. Oh well, we got some up in the air now. I kind of went back on what I said and just left the door open because I wasn't really being able to get them to just go out the trap. I didn't want to catch them all and put them out of the trap again like last time. I really want them to come out on their own. So once they enjoy coming out and flying and want to come out, then I'll make them all go out through the trap. They'll learn pretty quickly that that's how they leave the loft. But for today and possibly tomorrow, it'll be alright to open up the door. I think those are mostly old birds in the air. I can see Coco right there. I know Coco and Swift are both out. I know I put a few old birds out. So most of the birds that I did put out through the trap were all old birds. So that's probably most of what that is right there flying. But if there are any stragglers out here from yesterday's release, they're flying around, should get their attention. And then of course a lot of these birds are still down here on the loft, so not too concerned about it. And of course the old birds, most of them used to live in this gray loft. Some of them were raised in this loft, so you know, this is home. They're not going to go anywhere. When they're done, they'll come land right here. Whether it's on the red loft, the gray loft, or the shed, they'll land right here. So see, here comes Swift. She's done. If y'all remember, Swift actually used to have a shoulder injury that stopped her from being able to fly, but obviously that's healed. So now they'll settle down on top of the loft. Was that all of them? It felt like seemed like there were more flying than that. I don't know. Anyways, that satin net's thinking about just going back in through the trap. So I need to figure out how many birds I've got. So let's see. I had 2 old birds in here during the breeding season, so that's 2. Plus Ash and Swift, Coco and Swift make 3 and 4, and their babies, which they had and are still living, would be 5, 6, and 7, because one of their first ones, it was a blue check, and then they've got 2 grizzle babies. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to count, because if I keep saying names out loud, I already forgot what I just said. I'll figure it out and turn the camera back on after I do, because otherwise I'm just gonna be saying numbers and it's gonna sound weird. But that's what's going on so far. They're just hanging out. Alright, I just figured it up in my head, and I should have 35 homers altogether. Of course, I've got 2 blue bars with what I like to call a frozen wing or a frozen shoulder. I'm not really sure what the problem is. They were born that way. They've never been able to use it. And then the black hen. So that makes 3 of them that can't fly. And then I've also got 2 satin nets. So that's 37 in all, but that's only 34 that are gonna be out here flying, including the satin nets. So I'm not sure if they all made it in the first time or not. Most of them did. I had 32 in when I left the house, and a 33rd came flying over. So that only leaves 1 out and only 1 unaccounted for. So that's not too bad. I'll count them all after I get done. You see there's 1 that can't use its other wing. It's thinking about hopping out here. Since the door is open, it can do that. Anyways, I'm gonna go in and I gotta get ready for work, eat, and all that, so that I've got everything out of the way when it's time to put these guys away. I'm gonna try and put them away probably around 5, just after 5, and I'll probably try and get them put away for 5-10 minutes. Well, I don't know. I don't think it's only 9 minutes from now. I think I'm gonna try and get some of these to come out. Gently coax them out. So Ash came back in. So I'm just gonna come all the way to this side. Come on, birdies. I put you out. You came back in. So I'm just gonna kind of gently try and get them to go out. Go on, guys. Go on. That's right. Y'all can do it. Come on. Oh, well, it doesn't really matter what you do. You can't fly. Come on, guys. Y'all can do it. See if I can't grab Minnie. Come here. Come on, guys. It's okay. Go on out. It's alright. Can that one? Yeah, that one. Some of them come past me again. Come on, guys. Y'all have got to be training. Alright, so can you fly, or are you one with the frozen shoulder? Those might both be the ones with the frozen shoulders. Kind of acting like it. Yeah, I think they are. Yeah, so neither one of those can fly. And then Charles, he can't hardly fly, but I'm going to make him try. I'm probably just going to have to pick him up and put him back. Alright. They are all out of here except for the 3 that can't fly. Well, including one that can't fly. The black hen, I'll have to get her. Come back here, girlie. You can't fly. It's not safe for a flightless bird out here. I don't know that it's really safe for flighted birds, but put you back in the loft where you're safe and sound. Alright, so I'm going to close the door. I'm just going to kind of leave the trap open, I guess. Well, I'm going to do it to where any birds that come in will be trapped, because any that come in, I want them learning to use it. So I'm going to open these back up so it's not so hot in here, because it'll get hotter and hotter if I leave them closed. I guess I'll let Willie out now that I've going to close this door. So I'm just going to kind of let them fly around a little and do what they'll do. I'm going to go in and get ready for work, and then try and get them put away in 15-20 minutes. It is pretty warm out, so I'm not too worried about them having too much energy. And they should be fairly hungry still, so let the little chickens out too. So I'll turn the camera back on when I come back out here. Alright guys, so it's about 5:15. I've got to leave at 5:30, so I've got about 15 minutes to get them in. I'm not expecting them to all just pour through the trap, but I'm not expecting as many problems as I had yesterday evening. A few did just take off. I'm going to see if I can't let them settle back down. Though I think they're old birds. I know at least one is. I can tell it's swift. I think they might all 3 be old birds, which means as soon as I start whistling, they'll come straight down. And here they go. That one's acting like a young bird. Where'd Swift go? Oh, there she is. She'll come back around. She's enjoying herself. But first I'm going to try and get a head count of who's out here. 1, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 up in the air. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I don't know. This bush is getting in my way. Alright, so 1 up there, swift. 2 over there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, maybe 25, 26. It's hard to tell. I'm just going to go get their food ready. Swift's still flying around, but she'll come down as soon as I start whistling. I'm not worried about her, which is one of the things I like about having old birds out here. There she is, way out there. I'll zoom in on her. There she is. I think that's her. Is that? Or is that a different one? I don't know. Here comes a blue bar. Anyways, I won't be surprised if I wind up leaving with a few of them still out here, but I think most of them will go in this time. I did get just about, if not all of them in. Oh, there's Charles. I'll have to put him in there. Actually kind of surprised about Swift still flying. Anyways, I don't know how many birds are in here either. I won't be surprised if a couple went in on their own. Coco did. I'm just going to sit the camera here facing the trap so y'all can watch them come in. Maybe. There we go. Well, I was hoping they would do a little better than this. I can hear them all walking around on top. That should help speed things along. Swift's on the landing board now, so she did come down. Come on. This could be long. At least I've got a clock in here now. This is disappointing. Figured after those first few came in, they'd all start pouring in. It's usually how it goes. Some of them are trying to get in over here. They'll figure it out. Well, the blue grizzle's in. Some of them are just walking around the yard out there. So the problem I'm running into is that, for one, they're hot. They don't eat as well when they're hot. Also, the whistle means food. Food makes them happy. They're getting excited. When the young birds get excited, they like to fly. So some of them have started flying because they're excited. I've had that happen before with homers and with rollers. They're starting to come down and they're just not quite hungry enough. You start whistling. Anyways, you start whistling, and they get real excited, and the rollers shoot up, and they start flying way up high, because they get excited. That's what's happening. have that much longer. Well, that's one more. Alright, I basically have to be leaving for work. Quite a few have come in now, but not even half of them. But they're hungry. A lot of them are on top of the aviary, which is why you're supposed to have the trap right above the aviary, or have the aviary be removable and have them come in through here. But this was just a breeding loft. My racing dissolve would have been designed that way. But food for thought. Anyways, they'll get hungry, they'll get thirsty, they'll come in, but I've got to be off for work. I'll feed them lightly in the morning, very lightly in the morning, and if there are any stragglers then, they'll hopefully come in then. But I think most of them will come in. It's just going to be slowly. But I got to leave for work, so disappointing, but they'll get the hang of it. By next week, I don't think I'll be having near so much problem. I better not by next week. Alright guys, y'all can't see much, and I know that. This is more or less just going to be the ending of my video. So, I had to go to work, and y'all saw that things hadn't gone very well. I wound up calling my dad and asking him to pull the feeder out of the loft. Because I want to keep the birds as hungry as possible, and y'all saw that I was throwing, well, you probably couldn't see because it was pointed at the trap. I was throwing a lot of food on the floor, so there was food for any birds that were going to trap in the next 20 minutes or so, and then the last birds were not really going to get much of anything. But he said that most of them went in. He said there were 5 on the... He said he thought all but 5 went in, and those 5 were right there, if y'all can see them. That, just because there's 5 there doesn't necessarily mean that all but 5 went in, but hopefully that's the case. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sitting up there. Yep. So, one thing I realized is, y'all remember I tossed Charles out. I'm not sure if Charles would have been able to manage to fly up on top of the loft or not. So I'm going to specifically check for Charles when I go in there. I actually don't remember what his band number is. I know him when I see him. Anyways, I don't really need this fan turned on anymore. I could just plug up the light in here, and then y'all will actually be able to see the birds when I go in here. Alright. Feels kind of roomy in here without the feeder. Alright, so most of them are in here. Let's see. I figured out how many there were. I think all in all, I've got 37 pigeons in here. Should. So that means I should come up with 32 since there's 5 out here. So let's check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 30. I think there should be 37. which means I'm missing 7. There's 5 right, oh no, 31, 32. Yep, so those 5 on the aviary are the last 5. I'm not going to do anything about them. I'm just going to leave the trap open, and they will probably go in the morning. They should. I'm going to feed them real lightly tomorrow morning before I go to work. They should come in then. And then I'm just, because they should be hungry, but it does not appear that they are that hungry. And some of that is just that it's hot. And even though their bodies still need the same amount of food, mentally they're just not as hungry when it's hot. Y'all know how it is, especially since they've been flying around a little bit. I'm not making them fly, but they are doing it some, and flying's not exactly easy. So, you know, y'all know how it is. You don't like to go out in the heat and work and then go straight inside and eat. So that's part of the problem. And part of the reason that you don't want to necessarily do this in the middle of the day, on the one hand, it being hot makes them not want to fly as much. But to be honest, I'm really not worried about any of them flying away. Oh, I need to make sure I check for Charles. Well, I know that he's either on top of this aviary or he's in here. So, let's see. I didn't specifically notice him while I was looking. No, I don't see him, but... Alright. No, I don't see Charles, but I think Charles is the one closest to this edge of the aviary. Right? I'm pretty sure. Anyways, they're all accounted for, so I'm not worried about it. I was saying something. Oh yeah. So I'm really not worried about them flying away. So I'm really not concerned about having them out in the afternoon because it's hotter. I think that'll just give me more trouble with them not wanting to eat as much. So obviously things have not been going as well as I would like. And y'all have seen from past videos that I know how to trap train. I've done it before with the gray loft. And so far, I've never lost a pigeon while trap training, and that still holds true because all these pigeons are accounted for, even though 5 of them are sitting right there outside the loft. I still never lost one while trap training. So I've got that going for me for now. Eventually I won't be able to say that anymore because it's inevitable that as long as I keep pigeons, eventually it's going to happen. Especially if a hawk decides to mess up my plans. But so let's talk about some of the things that I've run into, some of the problems. For one, and one that y'all have constantly pointed out, my trap is right here above my door. Most traps are right here above the aviary. And y'all have seen some of these birds are getting confused and wanting to try and come in through the aviary, which is probably why those 5 are sitting there. And that's one of the problems I've been running into. So, was it better to have your trap over here somewhere or over here? It's better to have it right here. That makes perfect sense. The reason this one is over here is because, for one, this was only supposed to be a breeding loft, not racing necessarily. Now I do have it set up so that I can do widowhood. That's why these nest blocks are the way they are. So I had built it so that I could race widowhood and old birds if I wanted to. But the reason the trap is right here is because this is my first time racing, and up until now most of my pigeons have been rollers. And my rollers I kept in that gray loft over there, which does not have an aviary. So there was no aviary to put a trap on top of. So I just put the trap above the door because, of course, this side, of course, it has a loft right here now. The loft didn't used to be there, but the pigeons, they just tended to be in the backyard over here more instead of over here, and they tended to come in from that direction, and so I just stuck it above the door. Not to mention I already had perches on this. If this were the gray loft, then, you know, my door is here, the trap here. I already had perches, box perches along the wall right here, so I just put it above my door. And because I hadn't ever raced before and had never had a loft with an aviary before, when I built this one, naturally, I just stuck it above the door like I had on my gray one. Which isn't really a problem. Obviously, they're coming in, even though 5 are out there now. I got them in this morning. I just let them back out this evening. So, I mean, it's not a big deal, but it is certainly better to put it here. And on my, y'all remember I showed you the designs for the loft I wanted to build, which was even bigger than this, which would be for racing. In those plans, I did have it above the aviary. In fact, I had a rather large aviary that was going to put the trap up, you know, like this high. Though one thing to consider in this loft is when the pigeons come through this trap, they usually land about in the middle here. They don't like to drop necessarily straight down. They can, but they don't like it. They like to come forward more. And if the trap were right here, they'd have to really drop straight down to the floor. Now, of course, they could also fly over here. If I did it with bobs, they could fly over to here. If I had it this style trap, not necessarily. So, you know, maybe they would prefer to fly from there to there, but then drop down from there. But you know, it doesn't really matter because that's not how it is. And then, like I said about them not seeming hungry, they should be hungry. I think part of it is just the heat, which is the reason why you would either fly them in the evening or in the morning. Now, a lot of you have, now something I should point out is most of these birds came in here while I was gone. I was not whistling. I whistle with my mouth. I don't have a whistle. So my dad wasn't able to whistle for them. He wasn't whistling for them. He wasn't trying to get them in here. I just asked him to pull the feeder out so there wouldn't be as much food in here. Actually, I'm not sure where it is. I need to ask. But most of them came in here really just to roost, which is one of the reasons why it's suggested to do it in the evening. Now, I know that a lot of you have been saying do it in the morning. I've always been told to do it in the evening. A rather popular book on pigeons called The Pigeon. I can't remember the author, but I think he was the owner of the Palmetto pigeon plant. Anyways, it's like a 600-page manual on pigeons. It's really cool. If y'all don't know what it is, you should look it up. Anyways, I believe in there he recommends doing it in the evening. And the racing fanciers that he knew suggested doing it in the evening. So both are said. The reason for the evening is because of this right here. Even though the birds might not be hungry enough, if you have them out in the evening, they're not as excitable as they are in the morning, and they don't necessarily want to fly off as much. And are going to stay more on the loft. And then as it starts getting darker, even if they're not real hungry, they will trap in to roost in here because they would much rather. Alright, I just realized that went off. So anyways, I don't know where it cut out. Basically, I was given the reasons for the evening. They want to come in to roost. Even if they're not hungry, they'll still come into the loft to roost. Most of these did. Most of these really didn't get much food because they were so late. And then also not as many hawks around. And of course these birds are very weak, so the more we can keep them away from hawks, the better. They're not out as much and they're not hunting so much. They're trying to roost too. They're not as excitable in the evening. They don't want to fly around as much. Basically that kind of stuff. And then I was saying I'm going to feed them lightly in the morning, pretty light, and try to get those other 5 in, which I expect they should probably come in pretty easily. And then I'm not going to feed them at all Friday evening. What I'm going to do is after it gets dark, I'm going to open up the trap so that they can, you know, open it up, so they can get out as early as they want to Saturday morning. And then I'm going to give them probably till around 10:30, something like that. And then I'll put them away, feed them, and probably run them another bath. Because y'all keep telling me do it in the morning, do it in the morning. So I'm going to try doing it in the morning. But again, for those of you that, you know, or maybe not that I've been doing it a long time, but I have been doing it a few years. So for those of you that are even newer than I to pigeons, there's a lot of stuff that's opinion. Whether you should trap train in the morning or evening is opinion. I've always been told evening. Now I'm hearing a lot of people say morning. So you got to learn to decipher a little bit about that. So just learn about when you hear conflicting opinions like that. Just do your research on it. Also, some people say, you know, one breed does better in the evening, one breed does better in the morning. I've not really found much difference in trap training my rollers and homers. In fact, when I only had a few, I used to keep them together, which I don't recommend. Some of you also said don't fly them, don't fly different breeds together. He's just in here because I enjoy having him and he enjoys hanging out with me. Yes, I know he enjoys hanging out with me, for anyone who wants to and who says he just wants you for food. Yeah, he does like it when I give him food, but he's usually on my shoulder. He's gotten out several times while I've been doing this, and he just flies over and sits on my shoulder. So he's not flying. You all saw I remembered about it this evening, and I locked him in this nest box while I was letting him out. And then the satin nets I'm putting out, but that's because they've got to get trap trained too. A dropper's no good if it's not trained to the trap. Once I actually start flying them, I'll just be using them as droppers, but for now I'm not flying anything, so it doesn't matter. But I'm going to get those water jugs refilled. That one's still got a little bit, so they haven't completely run out, but I'm going to fill that one up all the way, refill those two. There's one down there. And then I'm headed inside and to bed. So I guess that's that. I don't think there's much more to say than that. But yeah. Lock that up. Huh. The spider's working on a web there. Anyways, that blue check right there, I think that's Charles. I'm pretty sure. Anyways, I do need to figure out where my feeder is. Need to refill the roller's water too. And there's another spider right here. Anyways, hopefully y'all enjoyed that. Things haven't been going too well so far, but they're still getting the hang of it. By this time next week, I'm sure they'll be trap trained fine. I'm sure I'll be flying by then. Let me turn this off. So, need to go plug this up to our boat. It's actually what it's supposed to be plugged into. But I'm sure they'll be trap trained well by next week. So, and I should be flying them by then. But things are going a little slower than they have in the past. One of the biggest differences between this and the way of trap trained birds in the past is that, for one, there were less birds, and for two, usually, and it was usually in this gray loft right here, I had birds that were already trained to the loft and a few birds that I needed to get trap trained. Usually the birds that were already trap trained to the loft outnumbered the ones that needed to be trap trained, and even if they didn't outnumber them, there were still birds already trap trained to it. Whereas with this red loft, I'm having to trap train them all. There's none that already are good at going through the trap. And even though the old birds, when I start whistling, they know what they're supposed to do. They know they're supposed to go through the trap and get their food. They were raised in this gray loft and used to be trap trained to it, so they still want to try and go through the trap on the gray loft. So as much of an advantage as it is to them that they already know what's supposed to happen, what's expected of them, they're confused about which loft they're supposed to go into. Obviously they're getting the hang of it. I think all the birds that were out in the aviary are young birds. I think all the old birds went in here. So, also, it's worth mentioning Alexandrite, the blue bar hen that I got, more or less a rescue from the Baltimore Washington Pigeon Club. Zach, if you're watching this, that's the pigeon I was the most concerned about. I was concerned it might try and fly back to Washington, but it hasn't. It's been trapping in just fine, so it was in there, so that's good. I'm happy about that. So, don't think there's much more to say than that, though. So, thanks for watching. Hopefully y'all learn some stuff. I'm learning, always learning. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Take care.